I would like to welcome Darin Wonn, Product Manager, Mobile Sites and Apps at the InterContinental Hotel Group, Mikael Karlsson, Mobile Marketing Manager at Volvo, and Pascale Martin, Head of CRM at Nestle EBG. There we go. Nice to have you. Come on. I would suggest that we start with Darin. Darin, you can go into your, you have a small presentation for us, I believe, a couple of slides.
Okay.
Why don't you start out and we'll just take it from there.
Okay. Are you going to show slides or?
Well, they will appear eventually.
Okay, I can start without slides. So I am Darin Wonn. I am the manager for mobile applications for InterContinental Hotels Group. We are a global hotel company with over 4,500 hotels around the world, and I am in charge of all of our mobile downloadable applications, including iPhone, iPad, and everything tablet.
Here, you can have it.
Okay.
At least you can see the slides.
So just to hit a couple of highlights of our apps, we really have two types of mobile products. The first is mobile websites and mobile apps. We have our mobile websites are available in 15 different languages, and then we have downloadable apps for iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, BlackBerry.
I just gave it to him.
All of the main ones you can really think of. And the important things for our apps is what we use them for primarily is to drive revenue through bookings. And it's been a huge boon to us. So in 2009, we did about $2 million in gross revenue from hotel bookings through our apps. Last year, we did about $150 million, and we're well on track to double that this year. So you can see even within 3 years, we've grown 150 times in revenue size for our apps. The other big important thing is not just for growing revenue, but it's also about helping our travelers manage their travel and really presenting them things like local recommendations, easier check-in, easier cancellation of their reservations. So beyond revenue, it's all about helping our travelers and presenting a better face to our brands in their travel experience.
And it obviously works because 150 times, you said, revenue?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So
when are you going to become CEO of InterContinental?
Well,
Can anybody else boast these growth rates?
So, I mean, InterContinental in general has had a pretty good growth rate in terms of travel the last couple of years. But you can see this puts us from something that was a very small part of the business a couple of years ago to something that's very significant now. And our mobile team is growing fast. Mm-hmm. It's great because it's giving us a lot of leeway to do more with more resources now.
Okay, so this is the man to watch. Watch for him on the title of Business Week. Mikael Karlsson, you are from Volvo, and Volvo is also trying to interact with the consumer via mobile apps and deliver more rewarding experiences. Are you also selling cars via smartphones?
No, I wish we would, but we're not there yet. Hopefully in a few years, we can be the first brand to do that. Mm-hmm. But at this point, no. Okay.
Can you share some of your insights of how Volvo goes about creating value for customers with mobile?
Absolutely. I did put together a presentation. I'm not sure if...
Well, let's see if that is here. The other one got lost in transition. Sorry about that. Yes.
Michael, what do you think of a stunt where I could somersault end over end? It's never been done before. Or better still, how about a flaming chariot? We could set my wheels on fire and do a jump. At night, it could be quite spectacular, don't you think?
Can't do anything about me. I think you better consider reprogramming him after the job.
How about a double barrel roll, or a barrel roll with a somersault combined? My data confirms that a 100-mile-per-hour approach to a 48-degree...
All right, so that was on like slide 3 on my presentation, but I'll back up a little bit. Basically, we have this app called Volvo On Call that does exactly this, adds a lot of consumer value through mobile phone. And what I wanted to show with this was that back in the days, I don't know if you recognize this, by the way, this was David Hasselhoff, you know, big star in the 90s, in Knight Rider, where he was having an even bigger star in the setup, which was KIT, the talking car. Now, back in those days, cars didn't really talk much apart from KIT. However, that has changed tremendously over the last few years. And these days, cars are telling us a whole lot about what they feel, what they do, where they're going, and you know, if you were a bit late for a date with them, that you said they would tell you. So what we've been about basically, I mean, we've been thinking about this, that as one way of communication is not really the way to build a relationship. So what we've done over the last few years is trying to develop our ability to listen and how to respond, so that we can have an open and honest dialogue throughout the relationship, to, you know, get to know each other and our dislikes, our likes, and see how we can help each other out in the you know, in the everyday small things in life. And the mobile phone is clearly the perfect enabler to do this, and because you have it with you all the time, you're always connected, and it just add a whole new dimension to your car ownership, really. And designing for mobile, obviously, as you know, means look at user context, so where people are, where they're going, where they've been, what kind of information do they need at that specific point in time, and you know, we're really trying to look at this when finding these specific situations in the everyday life, and try to find subtle, clever ways to bring solutions to people's problem and help uncomplicate their, you know, busy lives. Mm-hmm. And I wish I now had the slide where I show just a screen of the app, but it does really this. It is an app that you can download when you buy a new car, that is that bridge, that gateway to the car, from which you can lock and unlock the doors. If you live up north, like I do, you would turn on the heater 5 minutes before you enter the car, so that you enter a nice heated car. If you're down here in the south, you would turn on the cooler instead. You know, if you have problems with, you know, you wouldn't know how much gas there's left in the car, and tomorrow you're going on a big business trip, you would find that information as well. And the response from consumers has been tremendous at this point. It's been super appreciated. And there's still this wow effect, because people don't really knew that this sort of experience or product existed. And I know our competitors are doing it as well. And I think in the next few months we will see, but no one has brought it to market, to the mass market in a strong, impactful way yet. And I think that's what will happen in the next 6 to 9 months. So I think, you know, stay tuned, get prepared, it's coming.
Yeah. I've never actually heard anyone refer to Paris as the South, but I suppose it's a matter of perspective.
Exactly.
People in Paris go south for the warmth in the winter. But am I correct in assuming that the interaction with the car will be limited once the car gets moving? You do not intend to offer me all kinds of stuff to do while I'm driving, because as you realize, inattention due to texting and Facebooking as you drive is one of the major hazards in traffic today.
No, absolutely. I mean, at this point, I think what most car brands are at the stage where you start the journey before you jump in the car, and it doesn't end when you leave the car. You have a lot of things you can do to prepare your ride, and a lot of things you can do to analyze. And, you know, if you're a business traveler, you can pull you know, the business trips and send to your finance department or whatever. So there is that. But then while in the car, you also have, I mean, there's a lot of connectivity happens within cars right now, and how do you bridge that with smartphones? It's a big, tricky question, and a big one to solve for the car brands. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're all developing, or we're all developing our own systems with different third-party developers and so on. But I mean, already at this point, you are using your smartphone, like I would use my Spotify and via Bluetooth, play it through the car's audio system.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of your competitors, like BMW, I know, are actually actively offering internet systems as driver assistance systems or driver entertainment systems and all that. They obviously think that people can do two things at one time.
I think we will. There will be a test and learn period, even in the car industry right now, because we've been slow with adapting internet. Internet's been around for a while. We haven't seen it in a good way in cars. Mm-hmm. And car industry normally they just because we can, we're going to do it. They're not necessarily looking at the user experience at the end of the day, because it's done by a bunch of engineers somewhere. But I think there will be some struggles, but while it's standardized at one point, I think there will be a lot of connectivity in cars, and in a way that is not disruptive from driving, but rather a help or added value.
Yeah. Well, I mean, talk about transformation. Some car manufacturers actually admit we no longer sell cars. We sell mobility systems, and all these information and communication deals are part of the package.
Yeah, I mean, you sell the car once, but over time, if you can upgrade software for the next coming 25 years, there's a big revenue stream to be made on long term as well.
Mm-hmm. Great. Pascale Martin of Nestle BB, you are going to talk about the use of mobile applications, especially when you engage in conversations with young mums, I understand. Yeah. Mothers online is a big target group.
In fact, yes, the Nestle Baby Club is the main objective of the Baby Club is to meet the huge needs of the young mother and even of the pregnant woman in terms of information, because they are it's huge transformation in their life, and they need all sorts of information, all sorts of tips, and they need extensive information, and they can find it on the website, for instance. They need emergency, they have emergency situation, and so they call the care line, for instance, in our situation, and they use also two apps. One special app which is done for pregnancy, and another one which is developed for baby. And also the whole ecosystem is with different support, which give different questions to, which answer a different question of the mother in terms of also of quickness. I mean, I want to be quick. I phone. I want to have extensive information. I go to the website and the app. We were just kidding just before saying that sometimes you have the mother just breastfeeding a baby with one hand and having the mobile phone on the other hand just to click and to be sure that the process is going well, and so on. So we are really in a very specific target, very demanding, and of all sorts of information.
You actually have a machine here which I learned in French is called a Pavlov. I have no idea why.
I'm quite
but
lucky.
You can actually use it to click through your slides.
Great. So so you just can see just now how the integrated process is done with on the left part the pregnancy, different information we give with the website, newsletter, and the apps, especially for pregnancy. And on the right-hand side, you have also the website and newsletter. We send newsletter every week to the mother. Because every week your baby needs different, your baby had different needs, and we have also a baby application. So if we go further, and we go a bit deeper in the different application, especially in the pregnancy application. We have a so-called baby naming tool, which works very well, because when you're pregnant, the first thing you have to do is to imagine how you will call your baby, and it's a very popular functionality on the app.
Do you actually suggest names?
Yeah, and you can have all sorts of different entry, original, or you mean classical names, or ethnical names, or things like that.
In Germany, where I come from, you have to register your baby at the municipal authorities, and they can actually refuse to register a name if they think it is inappropriate. So, do you have a sort of a list of banned names in there too?
You know, in French too, I mean, you have certain officers we are very keen on giving right and not ridiculous names to babies, so we have the same situation in France too.
Okay.
So, on the baby part, we have quite a lot of functionality, like one question mother asks very oftenly is, what do I give to my baby at which age? I mean, do I give broccoli at 6 months or 8 months? And all sorts of tips like that are given by the apps, and we have about 400 downloads of the apps by day. So you can see that the magical side of the business is that every day new mothers are coming in the system, and you have to every day you have to recruit new mothers for the club.
Mm-hmm.
So. And last but not least, we use also the mobile to recruit new members. And as you know, the shops are a very important place to recruit people. And we make a certain number of games with, QR code, and in order to win things and to become new members in the club. Mm-hmm. So we have also tactical usage of the mobile in our activity.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, not everybody is as lucky as Darin that he's actually earning his keep and more within the company. The normal situation is possibly sort of like yours at Volvo, or maybe yours at Nestle, that you really have to find arguments to justify your existence. Because you can't really do an ROI, can you? You don't have real revenue streams coming in, but you are spending money.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're not exactly in the same situation as TV, for instance, because we can prove by certain studies that, in fact, we increase the relationship, the level of loyalty, the level of awareness of the brand. So we are not totally, let's say, nude in relationship with the fact that anyway someone, a young mother who is exposed in one way, website or printed mailing or apps with our brand anyway, as a better, let's say, as a better quality, is clearly as potential, as a bigger potential to buy more frequently our products. So, but you're right. I mean, we are not in a totally e-commerce or business where you can read every day exactly the turnover you will make with your apps or with your website or so on. Yeah. You're right.
Mikael, what do you tell your boss when you go to him and ask for more budget?
Actually, we do get quite a bit of money for mobile in Volvo. We was quite early. We were quite early. We had a mobile website already in 2007, which was the year before iPhone came out. And we heard earlier today a few big brands that don't have one even today. So I'd say mobile has always been like pretty far ahead in people's mind internally. And also on the case I just showed you, there's a close connection to our core product, the car, and mobile. So there's a lot of resources going towards that.
Tell me, Darin, is there a marked difference between the users of, say, tablet PCs and smartphones? Because I have been hearing a constant myth in the last couple of weeks at conferences that smartphone users don't really convert. They don't buy, they don't book, they don't do all kinds of stuff. They just sort of look at it and they might be interested, but they actually wait until they're back home to confirm or to press the buy button or something. Is that something that you are encountering too, or do people actually do transactions and reservations and pay on the road? And is there a difference between the big format, the big screen, and the small screen?
Yeah, I think there's a huge difference. I think they're really different ends of the spectrum, with probably desktop being somewhere in between. So what we see on our smartphone products is that the amount of people booking same-day reservations are about 60% of total reservations booked on a smartphone, right? So that shows us that our biggest market in smartphones is really distressed travelers who are nearby that location. And that's compared to less than 10% of bookings made on a desktop are made same day. So that really lets us reach a whole new audience through our smartphones, right? It lets us reach distressed travelers that we couldn't reach on the desktop. And what we also see on that, because it is distressed travelers, that the length of engagement per session is much shorter. You know, it's under a minute or two. So we really try to design those products to let users get in and out quickly, to make it easy and fast to book. Where on the desktop, the engagement rates, it's a little bit more, but on the tablet, the length of session is even greater than the desktop. And I just think that speaks to sort of how comfortable tablets are to use. You know, most of our users on tablet, I picture them sort of sitting on the couch, half watching TV as they use it. You know, really trying to sit back and doing a deep dive, probably doing a lot of research around the destination they're traveling to, probably doing a deep dive into the amenities of the hotels, services around the hotels, things to do around the hotels, any kind of additional content the brand offers up. So really, the length of engagement on tablets we're seeing is much longer. So again, I think it's sort of different ends of the spectrum from being very hurried on a mobile device to being relaxed and engaged on a tablet.
Yeah, I think you've very aptly described me. I'm the typical stress traveler. And I don't know, how did we do this back when we didn't have smartphones? I don't remember.
Lonely Planet.
Yeah.
You know what's most interesting to me, sort of thinking about comparing smartphones to tablets, is I just bought a Windows 8 Surface a couple weeks ago whenever it came out, and we just launched a Holiday Inn Windows 8 application, and I have to say it feels very much like the first time I used an iPad, where it's still has some version 1 things to work out, but it feels very transformatory, right? It feels like a machine where I would do a lot of leisure, deep dive, digging into content, but I would also do a lot of heavy production work, right? So we're thinking a lot about how we do this sort of very intensive travel planning, you know, on that you would normally do on a PC, and actually tying that in with all the content you would bring from a tablet.
Do you see any differences between conversion rates and the operating system used? Because I've also heard that Apple users usually spend more because they probably have more. I mean, the gadgets themselves are more expensive. Is there a marked difference between, say, users of iOS and Android, or you're starting to experiment with Windows 8?
Yeah, probably the biggest tell there is our average daily rate, and that's how much money we bring in per booking, per room night. And it is slightly higher on Apple devices, and I do believe that speaks to the demographic of the iPhone users, right? Because they're not free, there's a little bit more disposable income there.
Yeah.
So we're definitely seeing a difference.
Mm-hmm. Do you two have do you see any differences between individual operating systems or gadgets or formats, or is this mobile?
Well, in my world, it's if you buy a car, you can normally afford a phone as well. And we would even think about bundle up cars and phones. And so it's not really, we don't really have those volumes in terms of numbers. of cars that we sell that would look in too much on these things, but so not really. It doesn't really affect my business at this point.
How about you?
Same for me. I think.
Do you track these things?
Yes, we can know which device is used by each customer when she come, for instance, on the site, and we do. I can't tell you today that there is a big difference in terms of profile between the two devices. Even perhaps it's, I don't know, because I mean the need, the specific needs are so let's say the same in a way, because in fact what I want to say is that the major criteria is the age of the baby, or if you're pregnant, or so. By the way, I mean the need is very specifically linked with the age and so on. I mean the channel itself is not so important, I would say.
Any differences among sex with your customers? I mean, obviously you are probably have very few fathers.
We have some dads, yeah.
But
more and more, fortunately.
Great. Do you have any big differences there? Do women travelers react the same as male travelers? Are they as stressed out as we are?
No, I don't think there's any huge differences, sort of different, that are unique to mobile, right? That are different than the other channels. Even on desktop now, we sort of have our mix of travel profiles. Where business travelers still tend to skew male, but leisure travelers still tend to skew more female. So, I think our mobile mix really matches that pretty closely.
Yeah, great. I do not see any questions from the audience on my machine here. That is either due to the technology or perhaps you don't have any questions. And we have a question here for the low-tech solution. Yes. Please.
I hope.
Yes, there we go.
Hi there, I'm Benji from Marks & Spencer, look after mobile for Marks & Spencer. I noticed Volvo are using location awareness in the mobile website. And I just wondered what other features you guys are beginning to use that were originally native, but you're able to reuse it in a mobile web environment.
That was normally native in mobile?
It was previously native only to apps and now is available to do on a web experience.
We haven't really, I don't think I've ever looked at it that way really, I guess. We've treated the web from, well, the way we look at web versus apps, if I can start in that end, is that for apps we have a very specific purpose. Either you're already bought a car, or you're just about to buy a car, or it's a campaign to drive awareness, whereas the mobile web, in a way, needs to cover through the full funnel. But we haven't looked at any, and I'm not sure that, I didn't even know that was, to be honest, a native app feature, because we pulled it from the desktop website, really, and just made it available in the mobile website, because, again, we know that a lot of people, on the weekends, we see that when people are going to find the dealerships, we have a big peak in our traffic to the website, and to use that specific feature you're mentioning. So I guess that's one of the few in this case.
Yeah, I guess it was a question for all three as to what extent are apps and the functionality that you could only build in apps now available on mobile through HTML5, etc.
So, I think the biggest advantage for our apps has always been that they cater to our most loyal members. We've always been able to do, biggest thing that we've always had the advantage with is things like push notifications and being able to bring sort of real-time messaging and travel management messaging to our members. And that's another thing why I'm really interested about the Windows 8 platform is in Internet Explorer 10 with Windows 8, our customers can actually dynamically pin the website to the desktop of the platform, and then we can push information through that pin, right? So they'll actually be able to bookmark the website and then receive real-time offering, real-time messaging, real-time updates on their travel plans from us without ever having to download the app straight to their desktop. I think that's something we've really looked at a lot lately as a real interesting feature of a internet or of a website experience.
I think it's very important to make different channels communicate together, and not to, I mean, as you have, for instance, as a website is something dead without e-news. I think it's very important when you get apps to have also the use of a notification, just to make it lively and to give the opportunity to the customer to come again and to discover new functionality on the apps, and to make things communicate together.
I have the same question for Mark Spencer.
So, I mean, from my perspective, I'm desperate for the technology to improve so that everything that we're all calling out we can do in an app, we can do in a web. Apps are things that people have to remember to go and open, remember that they downloaded, remember that they update it, etc. So I'm just keen to try and migrate as much of the functionality I build in the app that works into a web. So that was the nature of my question. And we're going to start with the geo piece and move into using camera functionality, etc.
Well, remember my remark about the professor in Passau who said kids are going to grow up and they won't know what a website is. Possibly you're diverting too much of your effort to a dying technology.
But it's mobile website, which is a very different thing to a website. Okay. I think apps are potentially dangerously, apps are the thing that are the dying technology. So we're all living on the edge of mobile web versus mobile app. Apps are very hard to really continuously engage people with. And we need to find a way to do push notification without an app and without an SMS. So that's kind of my area of interest. How can we start to push things to customers just by using their mobile as the identifier, doing some integration with maybe the SIM providers or the MNOs, for example?
Darin, I believe you're doing that, aren't you? And probably you also.
Yeah, I was thinking about my answer to where we're coming from with this question. Instead of merging technology from apps to the web, we normally look at it from the other way around, trying to merge our web technologies and put it into the frame of a native app, so that we can still use the benefits of an iOS app, but many of the functions that requires a lot of maintenance and support and so on are web-based, so that's part of a system that serves a lot of different channels, like a responsive web sort of solution. And also with the apps, I think they will be around for a while, and a website is something as a consumer you go to visit, whereas an app is something you bring home and it's with you. So I think there is a big insight there as well. So I don't really see us moving away from apps for a while, but there are the more technology based, the more technology that we can merge, obviously the better. And but I would rather see it coming from the web to the app than the other way around.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Whenever we rolled out our iPhone app 2 years ago, I'm actually kind of shocked that it's still around, right? That it hasn't just been overridden by our mobile website altogether. But I just think that speaks to how special of an app economy that Apple has really built. So we definitely divide our subsets of who we address, our audiences, into both mobile websites and apps. And with apps, we really go after our most loyal members. We go after that 10 to 15% of our travelers that make up 80% of our revenue. And with our mobile websites, and within that, we try to offer a much deeper, richer experience with the native technology. Within our mobile websites, we have a much broader solution that reaches everyone else, especially with an international organization that we're in. We address sort of a lot of even off-market phones in China and a lot of just random devices around the world we can still address with our mobile websites. So it gives us a much broader reach for those customers that are less loyal, but it also doesn't let us offer as deep of an experience.